What is the heart brain and why is it the key to redefining what world-class presenting looks like? Why is it the key to the future of presenting? Everything that you need to know about the heart brain right now, I am going to explain. Sometimes when I mention to people heart brain, they're like, what the hell is that, Andrew? And this is the easiest way to explain. The heart brain is its own consciousness. It is separate from the brain. Now think of the brain as the technical. This is what I learn, copy and paste, regurgitate. This is my storage unit technical. This is for the people who just want to know where to stand, what to say, what their story is. Remember, a story is this happened to me. Heart brain is this happened through me. Past, present. The mind is where we store what we discover from our wisdom in the heart brain. Now, if you think of the magnitude or the power of them both, they say, and this is Oxford University, this is not just me making this up, that the heart is 60 times more powerful in amplitude than the brain. Now, think of that. So when you're in a room of people are presenting, when we rely on here, we are effectively trying to hook people and to change, influence hearts and minds with a logical source. A logical source, meaning our timing, where we stand, our body language, the manipulation in our language, the hypnotherapy, the NLP. We're using tricks and tools, copy and paste. Okay, this is the stock standard stuff that has been taught for generations. And trust me, I've been studying and mastering the craft of presenting now since 1994. I've reached a point of what I think is mastery, and the reason I know this is because I realized not so long ago that I knew nothing. That was the epiphany, the knowing that I had reached that point that I had been seeking for decades. So the heart brain is its own consciousness. It's the feeling. It's the feeling. And of course, when we are trying to influence, our desire is to influence hearts and minds, it is much easier to do this by feeling, because this is how they have to feel to move, right? To shift hearts and minds, they have to feel. But here we are, 99.9% of presenters, in our heads, the logical mind, trying to logically shift hearts and minds by telling stories or using tricks and tools. Now, all of these things are great as a foundation, by the way. It's not that I rubbish any of these things. I just know, I have a knowing that it is not the future of presenting. We are all aware now, and if you're in this group, you are aware that there is something far greater than the mind, which is our consciousness and energy. And our consciousness, this here is its own consciousness, the heart brain. I point to here, but this is very vague. It's just where I naturally position off or point to. So you have the heart brain, 60 times more potent in amplitude than the brain. So then why, when we are presenting, would we use this as our tool when we know this is far superior to shift? Now, if 95%, depending on what Google, who you're listening to or what YouTube, or if 95% of our communication is via feeling, then surely this is 95% more useful than this. See, when we move into the heart brain, this consciousness, and we are working, we are 95% more effective. Yet, most coaches, literally most coaches, will teach up here. Now, why are they doing that? It's really quite simple. Because this is logical. It's a very easy thing to map out and pass on. 1 + 1 = 2. I can give you these tools, these rules, these parameters, grab this. I can teach you these things. I can take this I've learned and then pass it on to you. Now, I am full of these tricks and tools. You don't get through and have a full-time job as a TV presenter and public speaker by not having these tools, by the way. But what I've learned is that this here is by far not just the present, but the future. When we redefine, and we are redefining what world-class presenting looks like, we are going to operate from a place in here. And when we're operating from a place in here, less needs to be said, because it is the feeling mind. It is the feeling consciousness. This means when we're operating in here, that the space in between the words is as potent to the words themselves. And when we do speak, the words, what we articulate is an external expression of our inner frequency. And I call this frequency the frequency of our greatness, your truth, your true authenticity, who you really are, what you really are. It here communicates. When you're operating in here, a balance of here and here. Remember, a balance is, what is my subject? What is my subject? Plotting my course. What are my slides? What's my intention today? What stories could I tell if needed? This here plots the course. But when we are able to be in here, when we present, the magic really happens. You're connecting not just through trying to use a story that is, this happened to me, but you're using a feeling, a consciousness that is, this is happening through me. And every single person in that room is aware of that consciousness, is aware of that energy. They can't not be. They can't not be. So this is how we deeply connect. There's this presence, there's this magnificence, there's this amplified magnetism happening when you are working in here. And I'll just repeat this because I love this part, is when we learn, remember, the heart brain doesn't speak in English. The heart brain doesn't speak in Russian or Spanish either. It doesn't speak in a language because it was here well before there was language. This is where people get a little bit confused. What is it saying to you? Well, if we try and interpret it using a language, you won't be able to do that. What it does is it gives you the feeling, and you interpret that feeling. You're choosing your words that articulate that feeling on your chosen subject. This is deep, but this is how it works. So your words, or what we choose to articulate, the words that we choose to give life to, are a reflection of your energy or your frequency of your internal world. And so when you do speak, these words have your essence attached to them. They have more weight to them. It's like you are attached to these words. They're not space fillers, because this doesn't here want to just fill space with superfluous words. This has meaning. This is tapping into the greatest version of you, you playing at your most authentic self. Now, if we separate this just for 1 second, which we talk about authenticity. So you cannot achieve authenticity or true authenticity on stage if you're wearing a mask. Meaning, you are indicating to your audience how you want to be seen. Indicating is, I'm trying to be a presenter. I'm trying to be excited. I'm trying to be calm. I'm trying to be authentic. The worst one. I'm trying to be upbeat. I'm trying to look like I'm the greatest version of myself, or Mr. Excitable, or who you think, your perception of fantasy of who you think your audience wants. Or you're attached to an old version of yourself, which was spectacular at the time, but it's not you right now. And who you are right now is authenticity. So you are cut off from the heart brain, from this huge consciousness that we have to present from as a tool. You're cut off from this if you are wearing a mask. As soon as you wear the mask, you're dead in the water when it comes to authenticity. And this is where lots of people get confused or misled. And a lot of teachers, I understand, teach authenticity. It's not even authentic. As soon as you try to be authentic, you're gone. You're in your head. If you just are, it is. If you just are, it is. This is why you have to be authentic all through the threads of your life. And this is the hard part, right? Because you don't want to walk on stage going, now I'm going to be authentic, because the reality is you can't do that. You just have to go on stage. And this is the beautiful thing. You just have to walk on stage and you do nothing. You don't have to do anything because you have created you as enough. That's pure authenticity. This is where the magic happens. And if you go back to the first step of the Eagleton presenting method, no change of state, this is the first part that's still, after coming up 28 years in this business, no change of state is still the rule that I go back to. The first step of the Eagleton presenting method, no change of state. Name the state you're in, describe how it's making you feel, then don't judge it to be wrong or right, good or bad, or negative or positive. You're presenting, and begin. Begin from there and then work moment to moment to moment. Of course, plotting where you're going to go. What is my topic today? What are my points that I want to make? But this here is the magic. This is logical. If you're trying to shift hearts and minds, this is a very one-dimensional way to do it. Here, we're talking about a multidimensional way of being able to influence your audience and for them to truly see who you are. And nothing is more precious than that, than a truthful moment between presenter and audience. So that, my friends, is the heart brain. A consciousness far greater in amplitude than the brain. And this here is the future of presenting. This here, the people that start picking this up and working with this and understanding it more and being able to use this and fine tune this. Remember, this here is also your intuition. It sharpens your intuition, the feeling brain. So the people that are getting on to this now will be the ones at the vanguard of presenting that are redefining what world-class presenting looks like, not following. We don't want to follow. Pioneering, transcending this craft, transcending what it is that you do, pioneering, playing at the vanguard, being a maverick, being a true leader in this day and age. And from here we create creation, and only creation will make change. Only change creates change. So it has to come from creation. Regurgitating information from the head, the mind, the brain will only give you the same results as before. This here is all that you need. Absolute pure wisdom. And we are all tuned into the same thing. We all know this, but the sooner that we start accepting it and using it, the faster we're going to transcend this craft and redefine what world-class presenting looks like. If you like this video, give it a like. Give it a like. I always appreciate that. Leave a comment. Perhaps leave a comment of what stood out for you. Was there a point that resonated or you had that aha moment with? So give it a like and leave me a comment, and we'll see you soon.